2023 was a great year for Andrew Schulz. It was the first full year since he released his comedy special Infamous, and his career reached heights few comedians will ever experience. He sold out and performed shows for his tour all across the world, in venues like the Royal Albert Hall in London, the Aware Super Theatre in Sydney, and the Etihad Arena in Abu Dhabi. But most impressive of all, he sold out Madison Square Garden in New York, not once, but twice. Headlining MSG has been a dream of Andrew since he first started comedy, a dream only he and his father believed in. So for him to sell it out twice on the same weekend was something special. If that were all he'd achieved in 2023, the year would have been a huge success. But he also had a great year for his podcast Flagrant. From a viewership perspective, the podcast did better than ever in 2023, raking in 160 million views on YouTube, and that's not to mention all the listens it gets on audio platforms. Andrew also appeared in 2 movies, starring in You People with Jonah Hill and Lauren London, and White Men Can't Jump with Cinco Walls and Jack Harlow. By every metric, it looks like he's killing it. But as his fame has grown, something else has grown alongside with it: his ego. Over the past year or so, there have been countless moments caught on camera where Schulz has been patronizing, dismissive of others' opinions, or just plain rude. He often comes across like he thinks he's the smartest person in the room and that everyone else is 2 steps behind. Most examples of this can be seen on the Flagrant podcast, where Andrew has made a number of his guests feel extremely uncomfortable. And judging by some of Flagrant's more recent episodes, this doesn't seem to be getting any better. Before we get into it, it's important to understand the dynamic on the podcast. Andrew is the central figure on the show and directs most of the questions and conversation. Akash, who typically sits beside Andrew, is also a comedian and essentially fills the role of Schulz's sidekick. He laughs at almost all his jokes, no matter how outrageous, and constantly agrees with everything he says. Mark is also a comedian and is not too dissimilar to Akash in his dynamic with Andrew. While he doesn't come across like as much of a yes man as Akash, he routinely piggybacks on the jokes Andrew makes and rarely puts up any resistance when Schulz gets out of line. Then there's Alex, the producer of Flagrant. Of all of them, Alex is the least vocal, but unlike the others, he often challenges Schulz when he disagrees with him, and there's been many times where he's been the voice of reason on the pod. As a whole, the crew has a bad habit of interrupting guests and laughing way too hard at jokes that really aren't that funny. In April 2023, Whitney Cummings made an appearance on the podcast. Like Schulz, Whitney is a comedian and the two have been good friends for years. In the comedy scene, Whitney doesn't exactly have the best reputation, as a lot of people find her annoying and unfunny, so it's not out of the ordinary for her to receive criticism. But in this episode, any and all criticism was directed at Schulz. Andrew came into the podcast with super high energy and started poking fun at Whitney from the very first minute.
You just said that I didn't watch any of the roast.
No, I just.
Is that what you just said?
I just said.
What did you just say? That I didn't watch 1 minute of the roast.
No, I sent you a link and.
Just tell me what you said. Don't do the golden retriever outside the car window on the highway face. Let's just talk to each other.
I love that you just called me a dog and like.
No, because when you think I'm setting you up for something, you do this thing.
She brushed his comment off, but just minutes later, Andrew continued making more comments about her facial expressions.
Why do you look at me with these faces like it's difficult?
She can't control that.
Is listening hard for you? This is what it looks like when you're listening. This is you listening, right? This is you. I'm not talking. What do I do with my face while the other people talk?
At this point, Whitney called him out for the way he was acting, but it didn't take long for him to pick back up where he left off.
Jersey when I was broke.
What's up with you? What's up with you today? Why do you want to fight with me today?
I didn't want to fight.
You want to fight with me today? Dude, I love doing corporate gigs because it's also like, it's a big business, I think, for more like female comics. Because, you know, like being a stand-up as a woman, it's not a business. It's not a viable.
Can you tell us how hard it is? Like,
I'm not saying it's hard necessarily.
Tell us how hard it is to be a female comic. Like, that's what we love to listen to.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's hard to be
It's so tough on the road.
No, it's not what I fucking said. What are you doing?
Guys trying to tell you to go back to the hotel.
No one, no,
This is so different than being a woman anywhere else in life. How is being a comic on the road any different than just going out to a bar? I always hear this from female comics. They're like, guys always trying to go back to your hotel. And it's like, look at the face again. You're listening again. You put on your listening face. I'd rather you look at me and just think about like a dog bone. Just think about a bone. Just think about a bone. Think about your happy face, and then look like this when I'm talking to you.
It's safe to say it was starting to get awkward, and this wasn't even 10 minutes into the podcast. Whitney seemed to be forcing laughs to mask the fact she was getting annoyed, but she couldn't keep it up for very long.
The LAPD, I mean, their whole thing is like, you don't really need, like, you know, a BB gun I have loaded, but if you have a gun, Like, that solves half of your problem.
I feel like you're having 4 different conversations with yourself right now.
You know what? First of all, how dare you? I came in here, I'm being attacked by you motherfuckers. I'm trying.
Attacked? I just sat down. You said I went Hollywood.
Eventually, Whitney had enough and started firing back, hitting a pain point for Andrew around his fertility, as he and his wife had been struggling to conceive a child for some time.
Don't do that. Don't you dare do that. It's not a rock climber in the 1700s when we didn't have cables and shit.
What's going on?
I need to know what's going on. You come on here, you say you're a big old bull dyke out of the nowhere.
Hold on.
Right?
I'm not a bull dyke.
Come on.
Did Emma take down your Die Hard poster? What's going on? What's going on at home, Emma?
You come in.
What's going on at home?
You come in and you tell me that you're lying about something.
What's going on? Are you shooting?
I need to get to the bottom of it.
Are you shooting blanks? Why are you such a grump?
Yes.
She also highlighted his hypocrisy for mocking Hollywood and the movie business up until he started getting roles, after which he did a complete 180. When the podcast got past the hour mark, Schulz noticeably slowed down, with the high energy he had earlier in the episode completely disappearing. He started getting deep and pretty much turned the whole podcast into some sort of weird therapy session.
You got a lot of people who love you.
Well, I think that the key, and my best friend, Nikki,
don't explain it.
Told me,
don't explain it.
If you're going to get your heart broken.
Don't explain it.
Just take it in.
Just take it in.
But I agree.
Stop trying to science it.
But what do you want me to say, though?
Just
stop being a nerd with your facts.
Don't say anything.
Just take it in.
Don't be a nerd with your facts.
But I'm going to say a quote that resonated with me.
Yeah, by
give
some
it a second.
gay guy.
Just give it a second.
I just want to hear about. I want to hear about your friend.
But I'm telling you, I'm grieving.
To your house.
I'm doing everything I need to do.
Caring about you. That's what I want to hear about.
Yeah, they show up. Which, by the way,
it was probably frustrating.
And
it was probably annoying.
No, it wasn't. I was kind of like. Because a lot of people were talking about that they were worried about me and, you know.
What an awesome thing.
I know, I agree.
That people care.
From here, Schulz kept trying to psychoanalyze Whitney, which felt really out of place, especially given how the podcast started. But this change in his approach didn't make him any less rude.
I think you're going through a lot, and I think it's really cool that you have friends that care about you enough to show up and just be like, hey, how you feeling?
Yeah.
Are you good?
Yeah.
And I know in that moment, it's easy to reject it. You know, like, I know once I was...
No, I was just trying to understand how I'm perceived.
Let me tell you a story.
Okay. Hollywood's never been, like, fair. Why should it be?
Well, that's
I mean,
thing.
It's like neither sports.
Now,
like,
this is a fucking wild take that the guys don't really appreciate.
I think it's... Sorry, can I say something about
No,
Nelk?
I was in the middle of a sentence.
I know, but if we're moving on...
but we're not moving on. It's about this.
Okay.
It's about this.
Her face here says it all. The fact that Schulz spent the entire podcast interrupting her and then had this reaction when she interrupted him is wild. And viewers pretty much all agreed that he was acting out of line. Andrew woke up this day and decided not to let his guests talk and attack every single thing they say. My respect for Whitney just skyrocketed due to how she handled this. Respect for Schulz has plummeted. At the end of the podcast, Whitney said this would be her final appearance on Flagrant.
Listen, I think the takeaway from this
is that
episode,
this is my final appearance on the Flagrant podcast.
You're more than welcome to come every single time you want.
Andrew misinterpreted what she meant here, and she may have been serious about not coming back, because as yet, she hasn't made another appearance. Schulz's behavior on the Whitney episode isn't something new. Months earlier, in November 2022, he appeared on an episode of the Full Send podcast where he did something similar. The podcast wasn't going particularly well, and Schulz started getting at the hosts for their lack of preparation. This led to a confrontation between him and Steiny, one of the hosts of the podcast, which ended up being so awkward the podcast almost got scrapped.
Me taking time out of my day to do this and then feeling like I'm forcing you guys to do the podcast.
I thought you were just being a little annoying.
How?
I think you're annoying.
Really?
A little bit. Yeah.
And what makes you think that?
I don't know.
It's gonna be like a therapy session.
Yeah, I mean, what the fuck?
Like he did with Whitney, Schulz then started analyzing Steiny and acting as though he had him all figured out.
No, just say how you honestly feel.
I feel good, bro. I think you're pretty funny.
Feel good. You don't feel good. You feel insecure right now because you think I don't like you. I think you need attention. I think you're doing anything you can to get attention. And right now you're making this podcast about you, which is the most boring part of the conversation. We have much more interesting people to discuss whose lives are more fascinating.
No. Oh, fuck. I don't ever want to do a podcast again, straight up.
Even that doesn't sound real.
You might have just retired him. Oh, straight up. Yeah.
Now, Steiny is often the butt of the joke in that group, so he's an easy target. But Schulz really didn't need to go after him as much as he did. In isolation, you might not think much of it, but when you also consider his treatment of Whitney, it starts to look a lot worse. Therapizing people is one thing, but Andrew has another habit that might be just as bad. For whatever reason, he regularly touches his guests on Flagrant during their conversations. Most of the time, this is just in a friendly and harmless way, although I'm sure there are still some people who don't appreciate it. But other times, it crosses the line into being inappropriate. There's no better example of this than when Logan Paul was on the podcast in August 2023. Schulz spent the majority of the podcast cozying up to Logan, which is strange given how controversial a character he is. But what was more weird was how Schulz kept groping him. He was squeezing Logan's thighs, chest, arms, really anywhere he could reach, all while commenting on how buff he is.
I love you guys.
Welcome
it's always
back.
a good time kicking out with the boys.
You're doing great.
Thanks.
Look at them.
Yeah, bro, I wasn't engaged. Now I'm engaged.
Yo, you are, dude. I'm fucking engaged. I'm putting the gay in engaged right now. Dude, he got D's, bro.
Wait, did he?
Dude.
This happened literally 2 minutes into the pod, and it didn't stop there.
Be serious, bro. Be serious. Come on, let me squeeze your arms again. Be serious, bro. Come on. Feel that, though. Feel that. Feel that.
I've been trying to size him up, and I'm like, yo, he's kind
He
of
might
big.
got you.
Every stress between us. Andrew.
Come on, bro.
I'm insulting the guest.
Come
He's
on, bro.
Serious, dude.
Bro, I had to make sure the legs are also getting worked out. You know what I mean?
He's trying to be serious.
Chill, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me.
Are you concerned about fighting Mike Perry potentially?
Yo, son, that's a harder fight.
No.
Nah, he ain't trying to do that.
That's a harder fight. What the fuck? Bro.
How you just got that in the tuck like that?
Come? There's no...
Let me tell you
Take your
something.
shirt off.
Yeah, ooh.
Take your shirt off,
Talk
though.
about
Take your
it.
shirt off. Take your shirt off.
Nah,
Yeah.
we won't be able to hear it.
Oh, let's go.
Let's go. Let's go.
Oh,
You
got that
yeah!
I'm cooked.
Pants
It was
off.
10 rounds.
Take your pants
It
off,
was
son.
10 rounds.
We knew.
Take your pants off,
knew
son.
Jake was gonna win.
Take your pants off, bro.
At several points here, Logan made it obvious the groping wasn't welcome, but Schulz didn't seem to care. The whole thing was just bizarre, and another guest might have been far less forgiving than Logan. One guest that hasn't been afraid to challenge Schulz is Gillis. Shane is a popular comedian who first appeared on the Flagrant podcast in October 2021. At the time, he had just released his first special on YouTube and had made his first appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience.
Today, we had to remove the mic from the truffle because he had such a crazy weekend in Vegas. But today, we are joined by one of my favorite comics working today. The newly viral sensation Shane Gillis is in the building.
Since then, he's been on Flagrant twice, once in October 2022 and most recently in October 2023. Over this time, his career has really taken off. He released his second special, Beautiful Dogs, which went straight to Netflix, and he's become a regular on JRE, appearing on the podcast 14 more times. In many ways, Gillis is now faring better in the comedy world than Schulz is. He took a more conventional route to the top, relying less on social media virality like Andrew, which is part of the reason he's more respected in the scene. A lot of people see him as funnier and more of a natural talent than Schulz, and the fact he got his second ever special released on Netflix speaks to that. While Andrew lives out in New York, Shane lives in Austin, Texas, where Joe Rogan lives, and he's embedded himself into the comedy circle Joe is building there. In his last two appearances on Flagrant, there's been this weird, almost competitive energy between them, mostly coming from Schulz, and many viewers believe this is because Schulz is insecure around Gillis.
Yeah, well, thank you for giving us the energy for the question we didn't ask.
No, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, excited
What's
about
your
SNL?
fucking problem, dude?
Excited
You had a
about
bad
SNL?
attitude when I called you today. You were grumpy when I
Yeah,
called
I
you.
did have a bad attitude.
Why were you being grumpy?
Because you faked the whole I don't know what's going on thing, and
I
I didn't
didn't.
like. Oh, you did. You called me the day of the pod. You're like,
I
oh
said,
yeah, we had that
shit.
today.
I said, oh shit, are we doing the pod today?
How often do you call me?
And I wanted to call you. I wanted to talk to you.
Yeah, right before the pod.
Yeah, I wanted to say,
You
oh
were
shit.
being fake.
By the way,
Yeah, that's foul.
these guys are
really-
awesome.
Yeah.
They're having fun.
Yeah.
For you guys to sit here and be like,
Wait a minute.
let's bring it up and mock them. That's fucked up, dude. That's
Oh,
a dude.
We're mocking
By
you. Yeah.
using them as an insult.
Using.
Yeah.
We're using you.
So you're insulting them by saying I look like them? Or
We're
you're insulting me
you.
by saying I look like them?
This is you back in your victim thing.
No, I'm not being a victim. I'm saying the jokes you're doing is not, it's not like,
It's not PC.
that's not cool.
You know what's really great?
Triggering.
You're making fun of these guys, these Down syndrome dudes,
Yeah.
putting out TikTok videos.
It's not easy to call out a room of people who are all on the same side, so props to Shane here. You can feel the combative energy coming from Schulz, but Gillis chose not to rise to it. This can be seen again in his most recent Flagrant appearance after Mark made a silly joke.
You gotta try Sugon with a girl.
What's Sugo?
That's where you Sugon his dick, dude. You fucking idiot. I hate you. You're fucking gay. You're so gay.
Yo, how did you fall for that, Shane?
Shane looked like he wanted to be anywhere in the world other than on that couch. Schulz was clearly annoying him, and he got back at him in the best way possible, by mocking him and turning his own crew against him.
I have everything I need, and I'm not happy as angst.
Feel.
Whoa.
You got your nails painted. You look like an angst. You know what I mean?
I love Schulz
What are
epiphanies.
you talking about?
Schulz epiphanies are my favorite.
Yo.
He repeats a statement. He's like,
That's crazy, though. It's true.
Schulz epiphanies.
Like, I think drugs are almost like a necessary component to dealing with life in the way we have to live it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you need to do drugs if you're fucking in Alaska. Yeah.
I think if you're in Alaska,
oh my God.
you need drugs.
Go about it like
If you're like a canner in Alaska, you probably don't need heroin.
I hope you were on the wide for that, because that was hilarious.
drugs are a necessary component.
hilarious.
Yo, keep
I
philosophizing,
hate how
bro.
this has turned on me. I hate how this has turned on me.
You know what? I love that it did. I got off of me.
How do I let this happen?
You can tell this is something Schulz's boys have been thinking for ages, but someone else bringing it up finally gave them the permission to laugh. Shane proceeded to toy with Andrew even more by shifting focus away from him and onto Akash. He asked Akash how the road's going, and they started chatting about it, but it didn't take long for Andrew to derail their conversation.
I hate the sunglasses. I just can't see. We might as well be on Zoom.
Keep them on. Keep them.
I'm keeping him on, dude.
You
If I
might
take
as
him
well
off
be on
now, he
Zoom.
wins.
Okay.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Come on.
Oh, fuck, that's right. It's a competition thing. It's not that. I really genuinely just feel
No,
like
it
I
is a
can connect
competition thing.
more.
You're the one trying to take my glasses off me.
Can we reframe
you hate
it?
that we're focused
Can we
on Akash
reframe
right
it?
now.
Yo, that's
Just,
really
it's not
weird.
about you for a second.
Oh, God.
Akash.
Okay. Anyway, so more that was good. Some more questions.
That was good.
Some more
You really
questions
got under
about
the skin
Akash.
with that.
It was good. It was good.
You really got under
no,
the skin.
the under the skin, no, but it was a
Yeah,
good.
no way.
Shane beat Andrew at his own game, and he made it look easy. But this is something we rarely see on Flagrant, and the next guest I'm going to talk about didn't fare so well. In December 2023, DJ Akademiks made his third appearance on Flagrant, and the episode was brutal. It was as if Andrew and the others kept forgetting they had a guest on because they just wouldn't stop interrupting him. About 40 minutes into the podcast, Akademiks started telling a story about the first time he went to London, and what followed was difficult to watch.
I'm in London. I go to London for the first time.
Yeah. How was it?
London was kind of cool. It's definitely not America though.
Why don't you?
No shit.
God damn, yo, Ak, you on it.
Ak, sometimes you're the most brilliant person that I've ever met,
Thank you.
and sometimes you be saying some shit.
Anyway, so I'm in London. Diddy had previously hit me up to say, hey, listen,
Yo,
stop fucking with my
think
side
about
chick.
basketball nicknames. Earl Monroe, Earl the Pearl, Black Jesus.
Novak
and
Kyrie.
you're Novak. Do you see the drop in creativity?
Anyway, so I'm in. Hold on, this all makes sense.
Fast talking
Hold on.
out. Fast talking out. I love that.
Stop
He's good.
it.
He's
No,
good.
stop it.
This
Stop
guy's
it.
good.
No.
This guy's good.
I gotta say the story, okay?
Say the story, bro.
Check this out. So I'm in London.
From here, another 5 minutes went by with him making little to no progress with the story, after which he tried to put his foot down.
Young M.A., yo.
She said that is a dude, but you wouldn't fight him.
Yo, Young M.A. is this shit. I ain't gonna lie. Young M.A. is this shit.
You gotta tell my fucking story.
Yeah, bruh.
God damn it.
Tell me your story.
You'd think that at this point they'd let him speak, but the conversation got sidetracked once again, and Akademiks was forced to shout over them before they finally allowed him to tell the story.
Hey, can I tell my fucking London story?
Yeah, tell your story.
Now,
DJ Akademiks might be the most patient person I've ever seen, because he was dealing with this throughout the entire extra-long 4-hour podcast. At one point, as he was telling a different story, Schulz reached across him and grabbed a pack of Zins from Mark. Zins are a brand of nicotine pouches which are highly addictive, and Schulz began pressuring Akademiks to take one, continuing even after he refused.
apparently one of them is about to be passed out.
Try one of these.
What is this?
This is
that's some weed shit. I'm good.
It's not weed. It's a Zin.
It's nicotine.
Oh, hell no.
No.
You're gonna be hooked. I'm good. I'm good.
It's not about a hook.
You won't get hooked.
It's
hell no. I'm good.
It's like a dip.
Just
try it.
No,
Will you just try it?
I got addicted personality for real.
Just try it.
Nah, I can't do it, brother.
You can literally take it out a second afterwards. You're not gonna feel anything.
Hell no. Hell
just
to the
try
no.
one.
No, I can't do it, brother. I can't do it.
Why not just try one?
No, because I'm gonna be addicted.
You're not gonna be
You're not
addicted.
gonna be
It's such a stupid thing to think.
And when you see
Also,
me,
you're probably an alcoholic anyway, so what are you concerned about Zin for?
It's crazy seeing two 40-year-olds trying to peer pressure someone into taking a drug, but given everything else we've seen, maybe it's not that surprising. In the rest of the pod, Schulz kept coming out with some very questionable takes, such as Adam22 being a marketing genius for allowing his wife to make a public sex tape with another man, and Charlemagne the God being the greatest radio host of all time over hosts like Howard Stern and Wendy Williams. When Akademiks disagreed with Schulz and gave pushback, Schulz simply bulldozed his opinion. The episode got a ton of dislikes, and the comment section is full of Flagrant fans who are clearly getting sick of Andrew. It's gotten to the point now where many OGs can no longer bring themselves to watch the podcast because they feel like it's become a circus, and at the heart of it is Andrew's antics. But with the numbers still going up and Schulz's career going from strength to strength, I doubt we'll be seeing any changes anytime soon.